Da-da! So today I wanted to talk to you about something that I love doing, which is decoding movies and enjoying movies that have an underlining of spirituality, of metaphysics, occult, and all these different things. And so I think it's a great exercise for you to do and to find movies that you're going to be enjoying, that are going to be, dragging some of the things that you're looking for. A lot of you out there are saying that they're starting their path and they're eager for knowledge and all this stuff. So, I thought talking about different type of movies will maybe help you find some of that knowledge that's right there in front of your eyes. Some of this knowledge has been put to help you get visualize certain things and maybe grasp it from a different angle. So as you see in the title of the video, this is going to be about the movie Besouro. As a warning, I'll tell you, if you haven't seen this movie before, maybe you want to pause here, go watch the movie. I think it's go just find it somewhere and watch it, so you kind of understand what I'm going to be talking about. For those of you who don't mind the spoilers, you can stick around with us. I'm going to go and point a few different things, so when you're going to go and watch, you're going to be able to see, kind of be on the lookout for different things that you may miss if you were not necessarily looking at no, actually you won't miss the things I'm going to highlight here. But so at your preferences, either you stop this, you go and watch that, or you stick around and you continue to the end of the video. So Besouro to me is just like it has so much spirituality and so much different elements to sink your teeth into if this is kind of the kind of genre that you like. It's going to give you a lot of different pointers, a lot of visualization of certain things that I've talked about in all of my other videos. And so the plot is in Latin America, in Brazil, and it has to do with capoeira. But even if you're not a capoeira person, the story itself and the intense spirituality, African spirituality that's in there is going to be very, very much enjoyable. So from the onset, what I wanted to say is if you're interested in the orishas and African spirituality, you're going to see that wrapped in there. The only caveat I will say is that just take it with a grain of salt, okay? Don't take this movie as face value, thinking that you're going to go and try to figure out some of those rituals and mimic that from the movies, or that because it is in the movies that everything that's being shown in the movie is actually how it is in real life or done. What I want you to take out of the movie is that to get inspiration from the movies, maybe help you understand certain principles that actually exist in the practice, in the various African practices. But don't take this movie as face value, and I think that cannot be stressed enough, because a lot of people who are easily impressionable will actually think that this is actually exactly how it happened. No, you still have to remember that it is a movie. They're attempting to reenact certain things that have a factual basis, a spiritual basis, but it's not like the whole wild truth. Just take it as you read a book. 70% of that stuff may be useful, 30% is going to be whatever, maybe 20% is going to be whatever, 10% is going to be like completely out of the works. So that's how I think you should approach the movie. Be open-minded, but don't take it as a fanatic. Don't jump into fanaticism and thinking that this is actually how things exactly went. There are a lot of things that I could dive into if you like to, that maybe a little bit stretched out of the reality, out of the context even, to soften the things, to soften also make it easier on the screen for people to relate to the story and things like that. Some of the depiction also are very much caricaturized or exaggerated, or sometimes shown only in a particular way. The point I highlight here is, like, for example, the aspect of one of the deities, one of the orishas that's being mentioned in the movie is not completely true. It's not completely what that deity is all about, but it is a way to show you and to help you grasp into what it is, what has been done. Now, when you're talking about this movie, some of the things that I'm really excited for you to go watch and just figure it out is that sometimes I get a lot of questions about reincarnation in African spirituality and people not completely understanding that, and I think this movie does a great job in terms of expressing that aspect, instead of saying that the ancestors come back with a purpose. They come back knowing their names, announcing themselves. They come back in a vessel that's linked with them genetically. We necessarily believe that you're going to be born in someone else's culture, in someone else's vehicle that has nothing to do with your own DNA. The bloodlines is something that's important, and I think this is also sometimes, this is a small parenthesis, this is also sometimes why they had all those rapes across different races occurred, because those are things that may not have naturally occur for that amount of people to mix together. And that's something for you to think about, like why was all of those rapes going on at that stage to create that mixture with the DNA and all that. So this being said, Besouro is taking place in Brazil, so you will have a country where there's a lot of race mixing and a lot of rapes and all these different things at the outside of slavery. And you can very much feel the racism going there and everything that's going there. I'll let you see that in the movie. But what I really love, there is this aspect about, you know, the reincarnation, about ancestors coming back, ancestors asserting and finishing what they started, and the way it is presented in the movie is very much beautiful. It's one of the ways that we could show. It's not like the only way. For her, she already know, the child already know his name. The child was very much affirmed, and that's kind of like when we say those children who come back and who are fully activated, who already know what they're going to be doing, who already know what skill they already have, what they're going to be sharpening up for, and they aim in life. And that's very much one of the rare thing that you see in real life, because most of the time most of people are not necessarily in sync with that. But that's really exactly what it is about. Like when a child comes in fully activated, he knows his purpose, he knows his name, he also have, you know, memories about what happened in the past somewhat, and that will develop as the child grows. And that you won't see that at the end, towards the end of the movie, but it's really something, that a moment that's very enjoyed, that I really truly enjoyed, and I think that you will enjoy as well in that movie. Also, one of the focus here also, I talk a lot about relationship, I talk about a lot about self-love, and recently I've shared my experience with dreaming with someone else and feeling that connection with somebody who may be miles and miles away physically, but with whom you can connect in such an energetical level, in such of a spiritual level, that you feel like the presence of the person as if they were with you physically. And this movie just gives you a great visual about that, how Besouro, as he is able to connect with the person he loves, as she's able to feel his energy, to feel his touch, to feel his love right next to her every moment of the day, which makes it very, very difficult from any other person, any other man, to kind of have access to her and kind of have access to her emotions as well, and which also ties an energetical bond between her and him, and so much that, you know, all other men are being, you know, pushed away. And I think that was a great thing for you to focus when I was talking about, you know, being in that space where you develop in a relationship that's based on authenticity, when you're being truthful yourself, you're letting your feelings speak, you're letting yourself receive that love. It engages you in a different type of way. It engages you in a spiritual way and a connection with that other person that is really so much more intimate than most of the model that we see today. Most of the time, you're not going to people don't talk about that. They will talk about how loving you are to be with each other. They will talk about the good things you can do to someone else. But they will never really talk about that spiritual connection, which has nothing to do with how many books you're reading together. And you know, it really has to do with how you're directing your feelings, how you're sending that energy to that person you actually love, and how receptive is that person to your energy and to your love. And when that reception and that sending and that reception is actually synced in, you start to merge together, and you start to not feel that any type of space or distortion can come between the two of you, no matter what kind of relationship it is. And for that, it was, you know, embodied not only because their energy was so much in sync, and he was able to let her know how much he loved her, even by being really away from her. And you can see that, you know, sometimes at some part it was really much, you know, her just feeling his presence, but it could also go to the point where it was very much sexual, and without him being physically there. And I think this is giving you another aspect of what, you know, spiritual relationship can be, and the intensity that it can take. And of course, all that manifested with them bringing the child forth, the child that is needed in order for the lineage to go on, in order for the community to go on, and in order for him to come back. And this is also why I often stress and saying that, you know, the relationship, the understanding between the man and the woman is such a core vital thing in African spirituality that you cannot go around it. It's going to be in your face. It's going to be it's going to stay there no matter what kind of angle you want to take, what kind of tradition you're going to run through. You still going to see that at the core of the spirituality, or the core of the community, is the relationship between the man and the woman being complementary in order to bring out the offspring and the children. and you see that in that movie. And especially how that child at a young age is already being geared towards what he's going to be doing. So that was another highlight. Of course, you have the highlight with everything that has to do with a lot more witchcraft and spirituality, which I'll let that to you. But these were really the two main things that I wanted to highlight for you to look at and to give you some visuals as we continue these different discussions about what African spirituality may mean to you and how you can perceive it, but also about how establishing relationship beyond the physical, beyond what matters to the eyes, going further in terms of assessing that energy and being able to send and receive that energy and connecting with people in a much more profound way. And that you will get that in that movie. So if you've seen the movie already, again, let me know in the comment. Let me know what you thought about those different scenes, what you thought also about him coming back, whether you were surprised, whether it was something you've seen. And if you have similar movies that you want to discuss, please put them in the description box below. I'll be happy to see if there's something I've already seen, or if I'm going to discuss in a different episode in this new series. So I hope you enjoyed, and go watch that movie and let me know what you think. Bye!